Auto mesh surface designates a function of visual FEA to generate meshes in an unstructured planar region, or multiple regions. This function is very convenient, because any complex regions defined by arbitrarily configured boundary curves can be meshed at a stroke, without user's intervention. Either triangular or quadrilateral elements can be generated in accordance with the user's choice. Shown on the screen are mesh regions, prepared in advance, for the tutorial of the auto mesh generation. Two mesh regions are created using the central cross-section of an aircraft. One region represents the interior part of the cross-section, and the other represents the exterior vicinity. The boundary curves are divided into a number of segments, with graded intervals, which is intended to control the local density of the meshes. The figures written over each curve represent the number of segments and ratios of graded interval. The auto mesh surface function is initiated by the mesh menu item, auto mesh surface. Auto mesh surface dialog has an option item to choose the element type from TRIA 3, TRIA 6, Quad 4 and Quad 8, which represent 3-node triangle, 6-node triangle, 4-node quadrangle and 8-node quadrangle, respectively. The default setting of the element type is TRIA 3, that is, 3-noded triangular element. There is another option item to select the mesh generation algorithm from advancing front and recursive subdivision algorithm. The default setting is the advancing front algorithm. Let's generate the mesh with the default settings. Move the cursor over the exterior region. The region is highlighted in green color. Click the mouse button to select the region. The selected region is marked in blue color. Press Generate button of the Auto Mesh dialog. The selected region is filled with the generated triangular elements. Let's undo the mesh generation and try other options. Change the element type to Quad 4. Select the exterior region again, and press Generate button. Then, the region is filled with 4-node quadrilateral elements. Two mesh generations, one with the element type, TRIA 3, and the other with Quad 4, are compared on the screen. Let's undo the mesh generation, and regenerate the mesh with higher order elements. Change the element type to TRIA 6. Select the exterior region again, and press Generate button. Then, the region is filled with 6-node triangular elements. Two mesh generations, one with the element type, TRIA 3, and the other with TRIA 6, are compared on the screen. Undo the mesh generation to examine the other mesh generation algorithms. Set the algorithm option to recursive subdivision. Generate the mesh. The results of the advancing front and recursive subdivision algorithms are compared on the screen. The mesh can be generated in the interior and exterior regions in sequence. It is also possible to generate the meshes in both regions at once. In order to demonstrate this, close the Auto Mesh dialog and delete the generated meshes. Select a mesh and press Delete button. Choose the mesh menu item, Auto Mesh surface. Select the interior and exterior regions together. Press Generate button of the dialog. Then, both of the interior and exterior regions are filled with the newly generated elements at the same time. In general, mesh generation of any multiple regions can be completed at a stroke without requiring additional user interactions. Lastly, the automatic curve division option will be demonstrated with another modeling case displayed on the screen. When we select a region for mesh generation, there appears a notice informing this region boundary consists of undivided curves. In this example, the inner circle and ellipse are not divided. In such a case, we may use automatic curve division option. Click the checkbox to turn on the option. Press Generate button. The undivided curves will be divided automatically, with the density equivalent to the surrounding curves. And then, the mesh is generated. It is also possible to designate the density of automatic division using Apply Preset Element Size item. In order to demonstrate this function, let's restore the previous curve divisions. Select the circular and elliptic boundary curves and choose Divide None item from Divide menu. Two curves are restored to undivided state. Select the region to generate mesh. Check Apply Preset Element Size box and set the average element size to 0.1. Press Generate button. The mesh is generated using the curves, with preset division. This is the end of the tutorial, for AutoMesh surface function.